Where is it?
You gotta
Those two will
call
be
it.
gone, might be late.
And we never had.
He got the senior night tonight.
All over.
County says.
We got to turn in, so we get some money from the state, we got to show them we've got some plans to do with that. Now, we may not do half of it.
Where they get?
That's after the meeting of the night.
So, just this board can.
I'm just trying to get them right. Thank you.
I said, I've been right where I needed to be.
It ain't enough. I miss you, Jay. I come by to see you. Yeah, you didn't actually know.
You're right. I didn't know about that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We didn't play with Dan, he's just here tonight, huh? He come back for another meeting maybe?
Oh, you don't swear him in
I
tonight?
mean, do it either way, but I'm not putting out on that.
Let's go ahead and swear him in.
Want to go ahead and swing it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and swear him in. Yeah.
Can you print that out?
John will take pictures of it.
Print it out.
Where is I'm trying to describe that thing to her.
Oh, really? I actually got a,
We got it right now.
I got a lens that screws in the.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, and it's working good. I've got people working another lens. I want to get just, make some weight.
I know the former mayor is watching me out there. I never had a meeting start late. And I think he always had a quorum, believe it or not, I think. Now we got a quorum.
Well, we asked for.
We have more.
He's got to be in here
Pay attention, Mayor.
to be a quorum. But anyway. Hey, let's call the meeting to order.
Oh, it's came, it's the two.
We've got a yes already.
It's 42 over there.
Quarter to.
Somebody needs to buy some
Anyway, but,
batteries.
call the meeting to order. We've got all the aldermen here except Alderman Bergson and Alderman Bullock, who will not be here. But if I could, I'd like to ask Alderman Strickland to say the prayer and lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, we come together as a group of men that are eternally grateful that we've been entrusted by the citizens of the city to do the right thing at the right time, at the right need. We ask that you guide our thoughts, our actions, our prayers, and our deeds in a way that you would have us do. I ask for protection of the city, of the citizens of the city, and the citizens of this state, Lord. Guide us, lead us, protect us. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It feels like we haven't been here in a long time for some reason.
2 weeks.
2 weeks anyway. Alrighty, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It does feel weird to let people hear you. Steve's usually on it, though, so appreciate that. Is there a motion to accept the consent agendas number 1 through 3?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I mean 1 through 4, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you missed that one.
Let's have a space there.
I don't know why I did that.
All righty, public comment. Ms. Carolyn. Who you got with you, Miss Carolyn?
Sir,
Who you got with you?
oh, that's my great grand,
Let her lead us in the
my
prayer.
shadow. My shadow.
That's a good shout to have, though.
I don't know. Some days it is and some days it ain't. How y'all doing today?
We are great.
Good.
Well, good. I hope you're still doing great when I get through complaining.
We
Oh,
are.
I do realize that people are having trouble with employees because everybody is short when it comes to employees, and I understand that. But I got a ditch that said 409 Short South Street.
Where, say that again?
409 Short South Street.
4-9.
That I seem to have to beg the city to take care of. Coming down, spraying them weeds is not good enough. There are limbs in that ditch.
Well,
That
the spraying ain't gonna help the limbs. We'll have to get somebody in there to pick them up, won't we?
Well, that's my point. The spraying does not help clean the ditch out. There are tree limbs in that ditch, and it's a hazard there. And because of the limbs and stuff, the water cannot flow in the ditch. So it creates other issues. And like I say, I do understand sometimes people are short of help and they can't get around to doing a lot of stuff like they should. And I'm a patient woman, very patient. But I want to bring it to y'all attention that I need something done about the ditch.
I've got Mike's, well, you're writing it down right now, aren't you, Mike?
Thank you, Mike.
When is the last time we got to that? I know.
Now, that's a good question.
You have to look
I'd
at
like to hear the answer
That's
to
the
that.
work orders. It hadn't been very long. They sprayed it. But like I said, all that doesn't do anything with the limbs and stuff. So you need to
Exactly.
check that
This-
part of it out.
The spraying, I mean, they do a good job coming down there spraying.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
we'll get,
are you talking about the main creek that goes behind the houses there down to the river? Or are we talking about the ditch next to the road?
I'm talking to the ditch that go down to the river.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, round by the main house on the back, on that dead end street there.
oh, is that something, are we still getting our prisoners?
Yeah, we are. And we actually, that situation's gotten better. So Mike can take a look at it.
Yeah, I
and we
think
get
that's
him
something we
to
can get
take
the
a look at
prisoners
it
to
tomorrow.
do too.
And,
Thank
we can
you,
make
I
that
appreciate
better.
that. I thank y'all, I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it happening soon.
That wasn't that bad, Miss
Awesome,
Jordan.
Carolyn. Thanks now.
Oh, no, it wasn't that bad. Y'all take good care of me.
Thank you.
That's for, yeah, that's actually for number 5, I believe it is.
Take one pass.
Have no bids and quotes, no old business. Number 5, under general business, and I'll get a motion in a second, and then we'll get John up here. But is there a motion to accept agreement with Shell, Zimmerman and Waits for multiple water and sewer projects?
Motion.
Is there a second, John? You're up, come on up.
We got vote, we ain't voted yet.
Well, I was gonna second for discussion.
Oh, we're still on discussion, okay.
Anything, and I'll tell you a little of the thought pattern, in the email I sent you guys, and I guess this is for everybody out there too. This is a large, matter of fact, it'll probably be the largest, well, I know it'll be the largest in over a decade of sewer projects. Now, this is roughly anywhere from $9 to $11 million in sewer projects. Do we have $9 to $11 million? No, we do not. But the state has some funds, and we're basically getting in line and telling them if the funds were available, that we have an action plan to basically go in there and do the work. Who came up with that plan? I sat down and basically in a discussion with John and with Mike Tress, they talked about the hot spots that they got the institutional knowledge of this stuff. Now, what you got there in your hand is actually just a breakdown of everything. And as you'll see, the Dawson Cutoff is actually a part of a separate contract, so it's not in part of the stuff that we'll be voting on tonight. But if anyone has a question for John, that's why I basically had him here. One question I know, John, is that we also got in line with DEQ. Was your understanding of how that process is going to go? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. The city submitted the ranking forms to be considered for MDEQ's SRLF program to be part of their intended use plan.
Okay.
So talking with DEQ representatives. They didn't know exactly when they were going to take action on all those ranking forms, but it will be forthcoming.
DEQ also has a revolving, now that's separate from this, a revolving loan
That's correct.
forgiveness program as well.
That's correct. So we submitted
Totally
to be
separate from
on.
all this stuff we're talking about,
Well,
ARPA money.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's exactly right. So right now, their grant qualifications are less than 4,000 and less than 40,000 median household income. They have a decent amount of money right now on the grant portal. They're expected to get a considerable amount, $20 million next year. And so they're not in the business of holding money, so they want to make sure that they get it out. So they might consider some of those metrics for the grant portion. They have done that in the past.
Under John's suggestion as well, being that we mark these off as individual projects, although it would be one contract, we can pull them out as we get to them. So they're not necessarily ranked in the order that we may get the funds to provide them with. I know Steve and I have talked for a long time about Eastover, which is actually out in the county, which leads me to tell you guys have the board has the same information that I've also given to Supervisor Burkett Ross and to Representative Larry Bird to let them know of our concerns. Obviously, they're not fixed to be able to come in and give us $5 million. If you're watching, yes, if you give it to us, we've got a place to put it from that standpoint. But hopefully this will get our sewer stuff in a little bit better position than we are today. I guess once we finally figure out how much money we got, I guess the suggestion or recommendation would be that we start picking out the projects that we can actually fund immediately. Also, that we wouldn't want to tear our town all up at one time. So we'll be a little more methodical as it is. The example that John had given me was we signed a contract, what was that, a couple weeks ago, for a Dawson cutoff.
Yes, sir.
Planning phase, that'll probably go out to bid March, probably present a bid winner, early May. They'll be doing work in July.
Yeah, that's correct.
So you see the time frame of us from the time we sign a contract is 6 months before a shovel even hits the ground. It'll take them, 3 months on that job, you think?
That's about right. Yes, sir.
You said it would take you probably a year if we just told you to if we had $11 million and I said, let her rip.
That's right.
It'd take you a year just to do the planning for this.
That's correct.
So it's some pretty heavy stuff, but obviously, my recommendation to the board as well is that we kind of see where the everything falls with this before we start choosing roads to pave. Because, and this basically will give you a little bit of an idea, but not the whole thing. Because the worst thing you can do is, I know we paved roads and had water leaks the week after before. And so it happens. It happens. You wait a little longer to fix that one just out of spite. But is anything else you would like to add to that, or any questions from the board?
John, Dawson Cutoff is already done. We're already doing that.
It is under contract for the design phase. Yes, sir.
Boots have been on the ground over there already too.
Tell me, are we talking about rerouting from Trailwood into the Dry Prong Creek pumping station? Or what are we doing there? I know they're down at the end of my street with a pumping station down at the end of Stewart Drive. And all of it, is that a part of this contract to release some of the pressure coming down the hill?
That's the plan. So there is some capacity available in the Trailwood force main. That's a 10-inch force main that runs down Corinth Road 3 Mile Cutoff.
Right.
And there's some additional capacity in there. So we were out last week doing some drawdown tests. We are currently crunching the numbers to see if we can put both Dry Prong and Stewart Drive lift station into that existing force main, which would take it out of the gravity sewer main on Old Corinth Road, which is an 8-inch gravity line, and gets overloaded when both those lift stations are running during rain events. And so we're currently crunching the numbers. The plan is to remove both Dry Prong and Stewart Drive lift station and put them into that force main if we have the capacity.
Okay.
And so then we're also going to upgrade the gravity main on Dawson's Cutoff from the large interceptor trunk line that runs north and south along the ditch, kind of where Katrina Drive is, to Corinth Road. Because right now, Carterville Road ties into that and Corinth Road ties into that. And there's about 450 houses, and really and truly that sewer pipe should only have about 400 houses on it. So we're gonna upgrade it to probably a 12-inch main, give us some additional flow capacity to get it to the Katrina lift station.
Is it a Band-Aid or is it a fix?
No, so that would be long-term.
We all know that it all flows downhill, and if it doesn't go across, nobody flushes the toilet in the city. We all know that. The generator's already bought, although we're sitting on back order.
Mhm.
So we should fix all the problems at the bottom. Will this address the issues of the grinder pumps and things on that are where the backup occurs at 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock when everybody flushes and bathes? At the bottom of Carterville Road. That's the problem right now,
Are
John.
you thinking about, crossing the church?
It drops down, it's the line right there, and Dawson Cutoff picks it up, and it comes right there in front of a house on Carterville Road, to the one ditch that we fixed, or culvert in the middle of Carterville Road. That's where it all leads to, goes that way. Is that gonna fix the issue with the backup at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time people take a bath?
Wouldn't it improve everything basically from Dry Prong all the way to the last lift station, wouldn't it? Before it goes across?
Yeah, so the Carterville Road is separate than,
Yeah, this is a different line.
yeah,
Okay.
the Carterville line is not where the Trailwood lift station would be, but there's a gravity main that comes down, and there's one house, I believe, that's on a grinder station there.
Right.
And so honestly, I didn't know that grinder station was having issues keeping up, but what's probably happening, and we'll look into that a little bit, is that the capacity of the gravity main is overloaded, and that such that it can't get a discharge point. And so the reason it's overloaded is because the pipes are undersized.
Right.
And so, yes, sir,
Well,
increasing the pipe size of that will flow the water out faster as long as the Katrina Drive lift station keeps up and doesn't become surcharged.
That's the question, because it's easy to pick, it's where we replaced and fixed around the manhole cover forever. There's 900 patches sitting around it, and sewage sitting in the house, and the ditch across when it blows out.
Right, and so a lot of that's gonna be, some of that's gonna be as a result of Katrina Drive.
Right.
It's not a dry weather problem, it's a wet weather problem. And so it's death by 1,000 paper cuts, really, just leaks and cracks in the system.
Okay.
Once we submit this, is this binding for us, or provided something comes up and we get some additional ideas, is this us saying, we have an idea and we know what we want to do with this money, and we're submitting it to the state for consideration for our funding, or once we give them these projects and these numbers, are we bound to these projects and numbers?
So the submission of the MDEQ ranking forms is not really binding. It gets us on a list. These are the projects that the city has identified, and those would be the named projects. Now, they're going to tell you if money becomes available. If it says we're going to do work on Main Street, we can't do work on Central Avenue because that doesn't follow what they approved in the intended use plan. But if the city says, hey, we don't want to do this project, there's nothing to stop the city from backing up. We tried to write some of these open-ended enough to leave a little bit of room for interpretation.
And as you'll see with this last contract too, is that I think John had the premonition, we can do certain things until you get people down actually on the ground. You know, these numbers might be less or more when we get in there and say, oh, wait, I didn't foresee this. I know, exciting discussion for everybody. I know y'all came out to talk about sewer tonight. Anyway, we hope to make it better. That's the takeaway from this. Anybody got anything else for John?
Thank you for doing this, John.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate this. I know there's a lot of work on your end. I know there'll be a lot more. There's no ETA from when the state's gonna drop the hammer and say, hey, here's exactly what we're gonna do and exactly what we're gonna get. I mean, this could drag on for a couple months. I would think, February, we're gonna have a lot better idea than we do today when the calendar starts getting set up.
Yeah, I can
Shut
tell you
down.
they've moved a lot of legislation in the short time that they've been in session.
You know, I think they got a couple other subjects that are of interest to us that we know about, but anyway, I won't ask you any questions about that. John, thank you.
Thank you.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Number 6. All right, Chief. Request to purchase 7 Scott 4500 PSI SCBA cylinders at a cost of $8,100 per state contract out of the state rebate fund. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Steve knows what that is, Chief, so we didn't have any questions about that. All righty, number 7, a request to adjust water services bill to 201 East 7th Avenue in the amount of $258.20 due to a leak. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second. Did they all?
Yeah, all in favor? Steve?
Aye.
Hey, I got you another one, Steve. Request to adjust water services bill to 124 Pine Street in the amount of $103 due to a leak. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion and second.
They also signed it? Okay.
All in favor?
And if I could just add, both of those had a little note that the problem was fixed. And that's what I'm always in there looking for. So if anyone hears this, just make sure
Yep.
it's not going to keep leaking.
Yeah, I gotta have.
Give them some
something to hang
receipts
my
and
hat
it's been fixed. So.
Number 9, request to approve the conditional use for property located at 210 West Central Avenue to allow for construction of a 9,600 square foot metal building with a front facade of stucco and a 3-foot brick ledge and/or mural on the east side of the building per the planning commission's recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
I know that we're passing over the 210 West Central Ave, for our other one. We're passing over 4 or 5. For the 210 West Central Avenue, is there anybody from the planning commission here?
Amy's there. She was there.
I'm the only one here, and the Kitchells are here
I
on the property.
just wanted to ask, why did Bernard Jackson vote nay?
I'm not sure, usually he votes nay if it's in opposition to the ordinance.
Okay.
Which the ordinance is, if it's over 500 square feet, it has to have a facade on it.
And Blake, I could speak to this property. I actually own most of the property adjacent to it.
Yeah.
And I have a good relationship with my neighbor here. And we've talked about this a lot, what it should look like in the end and what it needs to look like from the street. And I can tell you, I feel that what this building is going to be is a higher quality than what's been there or is presently there, at least from aesthetically from the street. And I think it's a really big deal too, because if you stay on my property, it's going to be huge. And so if I don't have a problem with it, I can't imagine who is. So I will throw that out.
I knew it was going to be a metal building, which is against some stuff, but that doesn't seem dramatically different from the surrounding area, which is our usual exception. I didn't have any major problems with the building by any stretch of the imagination. I just saw that somebody voted no, and I wanted to know.
Yeah,
what
it's a
was
good
going
question.
on.
So I think it's going to be a huge improvement for the area.
Sounds good.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Alrighty, seminars and travel. Number 10, request for Melissa Martin and Lynn Campfield to attend Municipal Clerk Spring Conference in Ridgeland, Mississippi, April 27th through the 29th. Total cost $1,302.
Motion.
Got a motion? Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Not up for discussion.
There wasn't even nothing before that. 1302.
It's Ole Miss
Dang.
conference, not a Mississippi State conference, so I don't know what to tell you.
It's an Ole Miss conference.
Those
It's an Ole Miss conference, so that costs a little more. Number 11, request for the following to attend SWAT school in Columbia, Mississippi, the 24th through the 28th. Total cost $825.
Motion.
These 3 names, motion and a second. All in favor? See there, Chief, it just flies on through. Number 12, request for Amy Heath to attend MACE training in Ridgeland, the 17th through the 18th. Total cost $263. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hey, Amy, me and Karen was discussing, why you gotta have training to learn how to shoot mace? You just point and shoot.
Gotta practice it.
Okay.
All in favor? All right, a request for the following to attend Mississippi Pesticide Safety Education Program in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Yeah, Steve could have ran this, Mike. On February 16th, total cost $225. That's William Cradle, William Creel, Phil Hamilton. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
I need to check my line.
All in favor?
You here?
No.
Who was the second there?
You need to push that.
Gerald was.
Gerald.
Yeah, Gerald.
Who's that?
All righty.
Here's the phone.
So when you're waiting on, number 14, request to adopt an order hiring Josh Holder full-time in the police department as a second-class patrol officer at a rate of $17.49 per hour. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty, Chief. Could you introduce,
I will. This is Josh Holder. He is currently a full-time certified police officer, and he brings some law enforcement experience to us, and we are fortunate to have the opportunity for him to come do with our department.
Josh, usually we give the new hires a chance to give a 5 to 10 minute speech. Or you appreciate you being here. I'm glad you're a part of the team now. Thank you. Next time, I think we will swear you in.
Yes, sir.
Sounds awesome.
That's the thing here. Thank you, sir.
Great. Number 15, request to adopt an ordinance prohibiting boring, digging, excavating, and trenching without obtaining a permit. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? Amy, you want to give a little bit of a highlight on that one?
I can, or have Mike together.
Yeah, Mike needs to. Real quickly, this is, as y'all know, we've had a lot of boring and digging from companies that are outside of our area, and in some of the worst case scenarios, they may nick some of our sewer lines, water lines, and in the sewer line case, it's not a pressurized line. It may be something that we find out about well on down the road, and the group that's come in, which is usually a third party, they're long gone. In some instances, they come in and tear some roads up and stuff, and this just gives a little more accountability. It's similar to some of the other ordinances that you see in Biloxi.
Biloxi and
And
Gulfport.
Gulfport has
Yeah.
one very similar to what you're seeing here. But is
It
there any?
puts more of the responsibility on the contractor for tearing up our roads. They don't replace it. They leave big dips in the road. So, and this holds them accountable for it.
That, I was looking at it, and it looks like it also has a white line ordinance put in place also,
Yes.
and which is brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, and it was recommended by Mississippi 811 also.
I really like it. It makes sense. I do have a question that, so I do a lot of my own work on my house and stuff, right? Does this really apply to like a home owner and a hand tool?
Like a fence or something.
Something like that,
Not
or
like
if I
that.
just need my water to go that way, I'm digging a little 6-inch trench. Because I've had some people ask, and I don't see anything that says one way or another, but I don't think that that's the intent.
That's not the
at all.
intent of it, no.
Okay.
This is more for the companies, the contractors who come in, they're digging fiber optic, putting in fiber optic or repairing a gas line, that they have a gas leak, and then they don't repair the road and just leave it like it is.
Gotcha,
So it
gotcha.
addresses those issues. Did you have anything, Mike, that you want to mention?
As it is now, we have no idea where they're at or anything. They're just you round a corner and they could be digging up the world. They don't really go through us from a directing traffic standpoint, or if we just paved the road standpoint.
They don't even notify our
They just
schools
rock
or
on, and
police department or anything.
this will give Mike some authority to come and make sure that they've at least signed up with us so we know who they are digging up our stuff, and that they'll, per our ordinance, put the stuff in like we need to. Obviously, Mike, just guessing, they like to put it as shallow as possible so they can go rework
Yes.
it later on. Well, that's not necessarily, that means we have to work around their stuff later on if we have to get to our sewer or water or something like that. And this will kind of tamp down on some of that, hopefully. But any other questions?
I wasn't aware that we didn't have some of this. I watched drilling and bloodlines go in for.
Oh, no, we talked about this before we emailed it out. I rounded the corner and they were there like on 5 o'clock on a Friday, digging the world up off a hillcrest. But anyway, we want people to come in and improve our infrastructure and our services that our residents get. But at the same time, we kind of need to know, we're all in the same sandbox. So
Does this affect the people that are going around right now doing the internet?
Section.
Yes.
Effective.
It will.
Is there
This, I
mostly-
want it to
they're
be
mostly
effective
online?
immediately.
Yeah, and I would put that caveat in there with, that it would be effective, immediately under emergency powers.
Yeah, because we had like, was it 20 locates? We had like 20 locates today.
Yeah, they're all over my neighborhood, and they're doing it at night too, which
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything. I'm sure they're good at what they do, but I've seen them everywhere.
Yeah.
So if this just goes into effect, most of their stuff is in the air or on the poles still.
Got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good deal. I appreciate the work you guys did on that. Now, this was solely put together, by Amy and Mike. They did some tweaking and some changing, and fit it for, we gave examples of what, best practices are of other cities, but at the same time, we're pedal, so you have to fit it for what we need it for. And they did a great job at that. John always does a good job at that as well. I'm sure you probably had some input on this as well.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the draft was presented today, but we had some discussion.
We
I
just
like
missed
that.
it.
A plausible deniability. I like that. Anyway, on the mayor's report, most of the stuff I would tell you guys about would be this right here, the contract that was approved earlier. I will say this because I mentioned it real quickly, because when everybody gets in office and swears in, the questions start coming for paving. And we will, in a month or two, probably start getting a list compiled. My recommendation as we sit here today would probably be go fairly light on the paving today. I think we're gonna have some good news probably in the next 2 months that we'll be able to free up some monies. And my recommendation would be to put it over into the paving area for the next budget. At the same time, we really want to see where we're going to start digging up some of the world. But there, at the same time, I know always when I look at the lake, I think of Morrow Drive, which is a horrible road. But I think we can get on a path in our next budget to where we can start systematically saying we're going to do X amount every year. And that would be our commitment. We'll have the funds to do it. Obviously, we're watching how the tax stuff is being talked about up in the legislature. They're talking about cutting this in half, cutting that in half. That's fantastic. But obviously, there could be some effect to us. So I'm interested in seeing how that'll all play out. I'm always interested in getting money back into consumers' hands. I think that's giving them the power has played off fairly well for us because our sales tax continues to grow a little bit. A little bit.
Did we get to 3%?
Yeah, the last one, we were 79,000 for the month of November. So about a little less than 1,000 more. Kind of, I hope it spiked. I'm used to insurance where your stuff does this number, but maybe we're going to be a town that just is steady. Arby's has began to break ground and start moving. Amy, have you heard anything else from Jack?
Not yet, I haven't. It's
Okay.
supposed to be this spring, that's all I know. Express Oil should start soon also.
The path that you see over there is for the Chick-fil-A truck, the stuff that's over there by the bank.
By the credit union.
The truck, it's a truck, make sure everybody understands that. He said that Chick-fil-A's coming. No, I said the truck. But anyway, I guess their numbers are good enough at least for them to stick around for a little longer anyway, which is always a positive thing. But that's really, anybody got anything?
I want to ask a question. This, on number 13, this here $225 from here to Red Dead Hattiesburg, is that for all of them or just for, that's what he's working?
That's for all of them. That's actually the mosquito spray stuff, isn't it?
Mhm.
Somebody got to show them how to spray?
Well, you have to have a license to spray. You have to have a license mixing the chemicals up. You have to have a license.
Oh, I read mine on it myself and I don't have a license.
Maybe we could get you and Steve. Steve's got all those credentials. I don't know why you just don't let Steve sign off on some of that stuff.
I was just wondering, they got to pay, I mean, and they live here in town?
That trip, to be honest with you, that trip's usually held in Raymond.
They have them in different
And
locations.
so
But I'm
usually it
talking
costs
people
more
live here in Delaware.
Yeah,
if these guys live
And
here.
you gotta pay them folks over in Hattiesburg to.
they have,
show them.
they have to pay the people who come from Mississippi State to,
Oh,
do the classes.
well, I was trying to say, they gotta go over there, pay
'Cause when I-
them folks. $200 and some dollars just to show them how to knit that spray.
Hey, just when I go, when my license starts to expire, I have to go to the same class.
I don't do that. I can mix my own.
But you're not selling or do it for the public. You just do it for yourself.
I just want it.
I know you asked it. You asked the
I
right
just want
question.
to know, I just want to know about this money.
All right, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank all of you for joining us to redevelop downtown Petal. Every alderman, with the exception of Drew, who was home COVID, showed up. Our mayor showed up, and I thank you for being there just to listen, to hear what our people are interested in doing. We'll be having a follow-up meeting on January 25th, which is next Tuesday, 4:30 at the Civic Center, and we're still inviting all of you, anybody in the public that's interested, to come talk with us, share your opinions, and let's move forward. We're already seeing some very promising movements on this. So thank y'all.
Pop up tonight. Emily's place popped up.
Yeah, she popped up
Stuffed
tonight,
milkshake or something.
and it was so busy that she had to have somebody go pick up her children because she was that busy. So yeah, we're seeing some activity. Thank y'all.
Awesome, good deal.
Thank you.
That's all I got. Feels weird. This is our shortest meeting. So anyway, yes, Drew and Craig, obviously, direct this meeting. But anyway, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I'm going to take it here.
Valerie,